9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Happy Thursday, everybody. All aboard. Welcome onto the RP train. Broadcasting on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 33 states and various other platforms, including WQVZ Radio. And speaking of, we're on WQVZ, as is our Hour 2 guest today, Brian Snow, Snowman in the Morning. We've been doing a lot of hockey all week long, of course, but it is night one of the NFL draft out of Pittsburgh. Snowman's going to join us to talk about that, plus Stanley Cup Playoffs. He's in Indianapolis on WQVZ. And from snowy Western Canada, I'm assuming that that's what the weather is there. Kevin the Medium joins us from the Hughes Sports Podcast and Kevin the Medium channeling. What's the weather report out there in Western Canada, Kev?
It is windy as all heck, but I just looked out the window in front of my desk here. I don't see any snow yet, but apparently we're going to be getting like 5 or 10 centimeters of snow. It's ridiculous. 2 days ago, I'm out in my shorts and T-shirt, sitting in my backyard, enjoying the sunshine, thinking, this is what Rod
you
does
still
every
can.
day. No,
you still can go out there in your shorts and your T-shirt and your sandals if you want. Hey, life is good. Life is good here in this part of the world. Let's get down to business here in the warm-up for our friends Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Kev, I asked you what you wanted to talk about today, and you said that because we've got everything to get to here in the warm-up, we always do that, but you said you watched a lot of hockey last night. You watched the Edmonton Oilers fall 6-4 to the Anaheim Ducks in Rogers Place, and that series is 1-1. I watched, you're very appropriately wearing orange. It's for the BC Lions you're wearing, but I tell you what, they got something going in Philly. And the Flyers knocked off Pittsburgh last night 5-2. They've gone up 3-0 in the series. Pittsburgh finally really started to play last night, and it's too late. I think they're going to get swept. So that's the game I watched. And maybe the best game of the night was actually in Minnesota, where Dallas beat Minnesota 4-3 in double overtime. Wyatt Johnston scoring the winner for the Stars to grab a 2-1 lead in that series. So you talk about that Oilers game if you want, or any of these Stanley Cup playoffs, man. They've been awesome.
Well, it's funny because I haven't watched a lot of hockey in the last little bit just because I'm bitter. I'll admit it. The irrational fan is a little bit bitter and my Canucks aren't there. But watching that game last night, I was expecting to see an Oilers team dominate. And I didn't see that. The Ducks don't realize they're not supposed to be as good as the Oilers, and they were matching them step for step. Yeah, McDavid has his flash of the moments. Is he hurt? Isn't he hurt? I kind of tried to look. Nobody's saying anything. It's a big secrecy, of course, because it's the playoffs. But it's going. If they keep doing this one might be the series to watch.
Well, it's been great. Like I say, the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh series, like I'm watching that and I'm going, how could you not love hockey? I talked about this on the Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday. A lot of people around here in South Florida have checked out, and I get the Panthers are out. They've moved on to other things. The NFL drafts tonight. As I said, the Marlins are having a decent season. They're not following hockey anymore, and I'm like, but there are some that are, and that's why they like me here. But I don't know. Did you see Crosby get clipped in the face last night? Because I was watching live. Okay, it was before the puck was even dropped. Face off in the Flyers zone. Hathaway skates by him and accidentally clips him in the face with his stick, and Sidney goes down like a rock, and Sidney gets called for diving. The guy in 21 years has never been called for diving, not one time, and he gets that penalty last night. It was a huge to-do, and he kind of got into it with the Philly fans. Sid, not in a bad way, but in the penalty box, Sid looked up at the fans. He shook his head like, what a stupid penalty call. My point is just, your Canucks are out. We know that, and you have very good reason to be bitter. If you can move past that, or even here, the Panthers are out. You're missing out if you're not watching, because what's going on is awesome.
Well, it's that first round of the playoffs, and we talked about it when we did our picks. There's always that what if. I mean, how many times have we seen that number 8 seed come in and take over? No, it's not number 8 anymore. I'm old. I'm going back to when it was number 8. And it can happen. The Canucks did it at least twice that I can think of. The Flames have done it. It's possible. So it's fun to watch. They don't say the playoffs are a new season. Forget about the regular season. Get into the playoffs, and anything can happen.
Oh, man, you really bringing your A game today. Do you want, listen, I really would love to talk nuts and bolts hockey every day if we actually could do that for 2 hours. But there are people here that like, obviously, the football, the baseball, the basketball. They like this show. What did you say this morning on the phone? If you don't like what we're talking about it, wait 2 minutes. We'll be talking about something else. But one thing that dawned on me this morning, or might have been last night, I'm like, playoff experience, which forever has been a really important thing in hockey, and I think every league, but specifically hockey, hasn't meant a damn thing. Look at these young Philadelphia Flyers. They got the least amount of playoff experience, and they're handling Pittsburgh like they're just having their way with them. That shouldn't happen. And Pittsburgh looks really old. And then, okay, sorry, but I know you want to jump in here, but the young Canadians, the young Ducks, going on the road and winning games here in the opening of the Stanley Cup playoffs, they're just throwing that experience to the wind. It didn't mean anything. And I'm just sitting here wondering if it is ever going to mean anything ever again, or if it's just this year.
I think these young punks, as we like to call them, going, these old guys don't know what we got, and we're going to show them a little bit. I said it last night. These Ducks weren't told before they started this series, we're going to go in, we're going to play the Oilers, and they're going to beat us really badly. That's not what they were told. They were told, we're going to go in and we're going to kick their butt. And I mean, they're not kicking their butt, but they won. They stunned. You
don't have
crowd.
to, right? You win by a goal. Yeah, that's all you got to do.
You could hear the wind come out of the crowd. You could literally feel it when they scored, it was like, what are these guys doing? What's happening? If the Oilers get knocked out in the first round, is that the biggest upset of the year so far? Obviously. How far back
none of
do we
us
have to go?
sure.
That big.
we didn't see it coming. So, and the Oilers clearly didn't either. And by the way, thank you. Darren in Salt Lake writes in and says, he goes, Kevin's right. Watching the Ducks, and in my case, watching the Mammoth, no one has told these teams they aren't supposed to be here. And Mammoth is another one. They don't have any playoff experience either. Like, what the hell? So that's just one of many fantastic storylines so far in these Stanley Cup playoffs. We're not even a week in. But Kev's right. The round one is always the best. So enjoy it now. We'll see how long this goes on. When we come back, we got a lot of football to get to. Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. Some MLB, because Kevin's a baseball fan now, and I like that. It's the warm-up for Uniglobe. Carefree travel. We'll be right back. You are watching the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network and, of course, WQVZ Radio.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, it's the RP Show. It's the warm-up brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group. When it comes to sports groups, sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partners of the RP Show, and the BC Lions, Kevin's BC Lions. There's a lot of viewer comments here and a lot of questions for Kev specifically, but I'll get to those maybe next segment. We got to roll here. Quick 6 show topics as we do. Put aside the mock drafts because it's time for the real deal. The NFL draft is here in the Steel City tonight. A total of 257 players will live out a dream and hear their name called over the course of the next 3 days, culminating a long journey that required a ton of hard work and plenty of sacrifice. Kev, will you be watching round 1 of the NFL draft tonight?
Probably not. Even the hockey draft, I'm more interested in hockey than I am the NFL. It's not something I watch. I'll watch the highlights. I like seeing the reaction. With the draft, I like seeing the reaction of the players, but more so the players' mom and dad. I love watching that reaction to it. 257 players. I wonder how many of them slept last night.
Probably not that many. And they probably slept better than Mike Vrabel, which we're going to get to in a second. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Absolutely everywhere I go, and I'm not joking, I'm hearing on the radio, turn on the TV, people talking in the gym, they're all talking about the draft. And I'm like, okay, I'm a lifelong sports guy, Kev, but I've never, ever been into the draft, whether it's the NHL draft, the WHL draft, the CFL draft, the NFL. I was way more into the Hall of Fame debate. Should he or shouldn't he, right? And they've ruined that too. But I'm kind of sitting here going, why are you guys so, you don't know who these players are. But you also know, you and I are similar this way. I'm trying to understand why you care so much. And I think there's 2 reasons. Number one, they're told to, and human beings do what they're told to do. That's the power of the media and advertising. And number 2, your team's going to take X amount of players at X amount of positions, and it's exciting to study these guys that they've drafted, where they came from, how they're going to fit in, right? So that's why they are all excited. So there's that. I will be watching tonight for the spectacle. Roger Goodell walking on stage, announcing the players, as you mentioned, the hundreds of thousands of people in Pittsburgh, they're going to be there. It's literally a spectacle, and nobody does that better than the NFL. So it's an entertainment thing. And trust me, you CFL fans, will get to that in a second. But point 2B off this is this. New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel is seeking counseling and will not be with the team for day 3 of the NFL draft, which is Saturday, following the publication of photos of the coach and longtime NFL reporter Diana Rossini at an Arizona resort. Vrabel told ESPN he will start counseling this weekend. Now, clearly, I have thoughts, but you're the guest. So what are your thoughts on this news? It's now become mainstream that Vrabel's missing day 3 of the draft.
Well, and it's I wasn't aware of it until we talked this morning, and then I went down the rabbit hole. And when I came out of the rabbit hole, I was shaking my head going, what the? So Vrabel is going to go and get counseling a day, 2, whatever it is. This poor lady has lost her career. Where's the balance here? Is it worse that a lady cheated on her husband, or is it worse that a man cheated on his wife? They're both the same. Why is it one has to lose her job and the other one gets to go for counseling? Makes no sense to me, and that's my take. I know a lot of people will go, well, who cares? No, we should care. It's not a balanced playing field.
Well, and that's why I gave you the floor, because there are a million opinions out there, millions of opinions, because everybody's got a different one. But this morning, it's you just displayed to the viewers that the NFL is not on your radar. It's like, because that has been the biggest story in the NFL the last 2.5 weeks. Like, and I mean, it's not close for number 2. I said yesterday, I'm sure Roger Goodell's like, thank God the draft's here, so we don't got to hear about this situation. And the thing with Vrabel, I just because you and I work in that world of wellness, A, nothing surprises me. B, so many people don't, and they don't understand. My point is, I'm listening to NBC Sports Radio this morning, and Chris Sims goes, this seems like is this a PR spin? Like, why would he miss day 3? This seems like I don't understand. And I'm like, whoa. You can't, you're Chris Sims? Why am I listening to you if you don't understand this? Of course it's a PR spin. It's for everybody to get off the Patriots' ass. And Vrabel's too. Okay, I'll go get counseling. Okay, because it's on the Saturday. It's the only day that the counselor was available because the counselor doesn't work Sundays. It's the National Football League. You don't think Vrabel couldn't have been there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then on Sunday gone and seen a counselor? For real? It's all about PR. How could anybody, Kev, not see that?
If you're not seeing that, you've got your head buried in the sand. This has nothing to do with doing the right thing at the right time. This all has to do with a company coming in and saying, okay, this is how we're going to fix this. You're going to miss Saturday. Go do whatever you need to do on Saturday. That's what they do. They hire these companies to fix this stuff. And that's
crisis management, they call it.
Obvious.
Right. And it's just wild, man. It's just wild because when they say crisis management, to me, and I'm not sure whether that's right or not, but crisis is the Humboldt Broncos tragedy. That's 16 people losing their lives. It's like when they had a grand jury on the deflated football situation. I'm like, is that where we're at in America? We don't have more important things to do than whether Tom Brady and the Patriots deflated football? But it is. I'm not changing it. This is where we are. That was the biggest thing in the National Football League. So that's Kev's take on that. Now, the poll question, which we do every day for Country Thunder, the biggest party of the summer is coming to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring, maybe you'll come join me there, Kev, featuring Lainey Wilson and Creed. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.sk. countrythunder.com/SK. Just $20 down secures your weekend pass. My poll question is this: what will be more interesting, the NFL draft or the CFL draft? And the only reason, I think the people need to understand something, because I go one day at a time, as my bracelet says, once I got reading the CFL prospects that came out, I'm like, just this week, I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But I mean, I've been thinking about this Stanley Cup Playoffs, and I went to an MLB game the other night, and it's not my life. But when it's in front of me, I'll start looking a little more. So what are you voting? What's more interesting, NFL draft or CFL draft? Because let's be honest, people don't know the prospects in either, largely.
I can probably guarantee you very few people know the CFL draft is actually happening. It's just that simple. So obviously the NFL is going to be more forefront and interesting to the majority of the people.
Okay, well, but to you, I guess could you say neither? Would you vote neither if that was an option?
I did. I look further down for neither one because there's probably a Blue Jays game on, and I'll watch that because it's way more interesting than seeing people I've never heard of being drafted to teams I don't care about on either side. I mean, the CFL draft is just so they haven't done anything with it. They don't promote it. They don't do anything. I think it's hidden in the back room of a restaurant, and it's in the basement, and only one light bulb hangs. And that's how they do it, because you never see anything. It's not promoted. Like you said, the NFL is going to be a spectacle. Why can't we do that in the CFL? Come on. It drives me crazy.
Be honest,
if they would do that, I would probably pay attention.
Well, of course. And tomorrow would be, this is what we will do tomorrow. If money was no object, and I mean, let's be honest, with these corporations that own these teams, they act like they're not the way that they throw it around. MLSE owns the Argos. CSEG owns the Stampeders. They got enough money to make it fun, to put on an event, right? And I don't want to sit here any longer today because there are other things to talk about. But tomorrow we will, because it's a football Friday. What would you like to do? You think about that, Kev, overnight. If you had unlimited budget, what would you do for the CFL draft? Because I've been at the ones where they did have it in front of an audience, and the players were there and the GMs, and it was amazing, but it didn't last for a variety of reasons. But anyways, from the audience, Kevin, Utah Darren writes, and he says, Kevin, are you saying that the CFL draft is in the basement of the Alamo? I'm not sure what he means by that. I'm just passing it along. Jason in Red Deer says, I'll be honest, the only reason I know the CFL draft is happening or care about it is because I have a podcast to discuss it on. Fair. Monty in Saskatoon says the CFL draft is more interesting. Ted in Red Deer says, Roger Goodell is today's P.T. Barnum. That's the circus guy. He says, there's no such thing as bad publicity as long as they spell your name right. See, I totally agree. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, the NFL draft will be more interesting just because it's the NFL. I'm sure the CFL draft will be interesting in its own right, though. I mean, you got to be a pretty hardcore nuts and bolts sports guy or gal, Kev, to be into the CFL draft. And because for the NFL, like the fans are into it, what I say earlier, because they're told to be into it. For the CFL draft, I mean, because I've been around the guys, it did for the scouting and personnel people, it's their Grey Cup. The coaches and players, the Grey Cup is their Grey Cup. For the scouting people, the head scouts and the GMs, the draft is their Grey Cup because that's where the team's built. But you got to really be into it to be interested. And I don't know where you're a huge BC Lions fan, but it sounds to me like you have not spent 2 seconds examining what the Lions might do in this draft.
I haven't spent one iota of my time. And it was funny because I'm like, I probably should. We should probably talk about it on the Hughes Sports podcast. And I just haven't. It's just, I'm not interested, to be blunt. And if I'm not interested, it's hard to do something for me anyway. I can't force myself.
This is funny. Yeah. This is funny. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, you may need help if you're excited about the CFL draft. I didn't say I was. I didn't say that I was. I'm trying to help the league out, which reminds me, I mean, we're going to break here in a few minutes, but I went into the studio in downtown Boca Raton yesterday to do the Cats and Bolts podcast, and the show that was on just before us, it's called the Get the Edge podcast. Teddy, one of the hosts of that show, he lives in Miami, and he goes, hey, Rod, I tuned your show in the other day, but you were talking CFL, and I had to tune it out. I didn't care. And I was like, I said, well, that's the Canadian hour where we talk about the CFL. But I'm like, Teddy's a nice guy, but I'm like, why would you say that? That would be like me saying, I tuned in your podcast, but you were talking college basketball, so I quit. So I'm like, we're not a jukebox where you just plug K3 and we'll play the song that you want. But anyways, trying to do the league a favor here.
It's not your fault that this Teddy guy doesn't like good football. I mean, you can lead a horse to water. You can't force them to drink it.
I like this one. Sean in Vancouver writes in, and he says, go Raiders. The only day all season us fans can be excited. That, by the way, is another thing, because as we air an hour 2 in Nevada, in Las Vegas on Silver State Sports, what I've noticed on all those shows on that channel, they're all talking Raiders, A's, and anything but the Golden Knights. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'll be the Golden Knights guy. I can handle it just fine, which incidentally, they're not playing tonight. We'll get to our NHL picks for the night a little later on. But yeah, the Raiders, I'm getting all this Raiders stuff now in my timeline, as they say, because we're on a Las Vegas TV channel daily. And I'm like, but nobody's talking about the Golden Knights there. And I'm like, that's perfect for me. That feeds right into our wheelhouse. Okay, just one more segment left with Kev. And I want to get into his take on AI, which Janice cracked the lid on that yesterday. I feel like it started a few fights. We'll sort it all out when we come back. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. RP Show continues. There is some breaking news out of the CFL and NFL. My dear friend Jorgen Hughes, he watches this show every day. Long snapper, longest-serving member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, announcing his retirement this morning. And Kevin, the medium, I'm losing my sources, Kev. Jorgen was my guy on a lot of things, especially when he was a long snapper of the St. Louis Rams as well. So when everything was going on down there and all the controversy over when they signed Michael Sam, I was, hey, Jorgen, what's going on down there? Just a great guy. He was on our shows regularly. Jorgen Hughes announcing his retirement. He's got a Grey Cup or two with the Rough Riders. Just an unbelievable guy from Saskatoon. So thank you, Jorgen, for everything. He says our show is on his television in his house all day, every day. So sorry about that to his family. Okay, Kev, from the audience, Twisted Mike writes in and says, hey, what I see with the Oilers, they haven't made many changes since last year, since it lost the final. There's a lot more there, but that's the thing. Not a lot of changes with the Oilers. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says, good morning, Rod and Kev. I will be Captain Obvious and say the playoffs so far have showed us that hockey is now a young man's game. Speed and skill is off the charts. Maybe that's the Canucks' problem. Are they too old, Kev? There are people asking about where the Canucks are going. Do you want to dabble on that, or do you want to stay positive and in a good mood?
I want to stay positive in a good mood until May 5th when we win that lottery and we get McKenna, then I'll be positive again.
Okay. I will get to the viewer comments in the next segment once Kevin adjourns. I had written down here. Well, hang on. Let me just finish this up. The quick six show topics here. Point 4, Mike Trout and Nolan Shanwell homered, and the LA Angels took a 7-3 win over the Toronto Blue Jays on Wednesday. Visiting Jays rallied in the 7th with Tyler Heineman driving in a run before Nathan Lucas hit an RBI double, and Ernie Clement added a 2-out RBI single to tie the game at 3-3. Point 5, the Toronto Raptors host the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in Game 3 of their NBA Eastern Conference quarterfinal. Cavs lead 2-0 after posting a pair of comfortable wins at home. Okay, I'm interested in your take on the AI thing. And it just kind of, Janice wanted to talk about it. AI in sports, because I don't know how many people understand that it's running sports, whether you want to admit it or not. And she said yesterday she's been in the industry for 13 years, and people are just finding out about it now. And it triggered a lot of people yesterday. I saw that in the comments section. And, I mean, Janice can handle herself, but she didn't invent AI, everybody. So don't come at her because it's taking your job or your kid's job or whatever. But where are you on AI and what you do, Kevin? How much do you use it? Because I got a story that football fans will really love on that, which you know, but what's your take on it?
I use AI a lot for posting on Facebook, etc., for my channeling business. But with anything else, it's a computer. As Janice said, it's not real. And you have to check it. You have to double check it. Sometimes you have to triple check it because it can give you wrong information. I quite often ask it, can you make a post for Kevin the Medium? And it'll come up with a post for George. And I'll be like, where did you get that? And they'll go, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. Oh, yeah. How can you make a mistake? You're AI, artificial intelligence. They make mistakes. Use it for what it's intended for. That's what I think. I think too many people are relying on it rather than using it. Will it change the world going forward? Hell yeah. All you have to do is look at the Uber industry. It's changing the Uber industry. Driverless cars are a thing, and they're now building cars without steering wheels for Uber. So
and that's why, we had a viewer yesterday that said that he's using it, for therapy, counseling, that type of thing. And I just said, hey, go ahead, but just be careful. And here's my story on that. There's a guy writing a book on Dave Ridgway. And so he wrote me and said, hey, Rod, you were the voice of the Rough Riders for 20 years. What's your take on Dave Ridgway? And what kicks do you remember of his other than the game-winning kick in the 89 Grey Cup? And I said, well, there's the miss. In Rough Riders lore, there was a playoff game in Edmonton that he slipped on the turf in Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Riders lost the game. And I'm like, so I put into ChatGPT, what year was that? I can't remember. I'm getting old, Kev. And ChatGPT comes back and goes 1994. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. And I kind of remember doing a banquet with Bob Poley a couple of years ago that was on the field for that miss. And Poley said he never played another game after that. Bob never played, nor did Aldag. Bob Poley and Roger Aldag never played another game after that Ridgway slip. So I had to go in and look up their careers. Both ended in 92. I went and looked at the playoffs. Riders in Edmonton didn't even play in 94 in the playoffs. It was 92. So, and when Doug McLean was on this show the other day, Doug McLean said he's writing a book, the former Florida Panthers head coach and Columbus Blue Jackets coach and Jim. He goes, I'm using AI a lot, but I'm finding out a lot of it is wrong. So, yeah, I'm like you say, people are having it run their lives. I'm not sure that's the best thing to do.
No. And don't trust it. I remember I learned the hard way. I was interviewing somebody on the Hughes Sports podcast. I forget who it was. They said he was a ex-CFL player. That's how I introduced him. He came on. He's like, Kevin, I never played in the CFL. It's a color commentator for Edmonton, I think it was. And I was like, oh, well, ChatGPT said you did. Sorry. And moved on. But boy, was I embarrassed for not checking my facts. Check your facts. Use it to check it. What's that? The same trustful, verified?
Yeah, do the work, which nobody wants to do. Because I was like, I guess I could go look this up like it's 1999. And that's what I did. And I found out the actual answer to that. But, it's funny. I guess we are talking sports. We only have a couple minutes left here. But, there's a reporter for ESPN, friend of ours. She's been on this show. She's getting ripped because she made a mistake in an interview the other night in the Buffalo-Boston game, and being ripped by people that shouldn't be ripping her. I mean, fans I get, but there's people in the industry that are ripping her, and I just feel like saying, I guess you guys never made a mistake. I know that I'm getting choppy here, but I'm like, I guess, yeah, go ahead.
It's clicks. People want the clicks now. It's all about clicks. So if you can post something on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, or TikTok or TalkTick, whatever it's called, and I guess if you have to go down to that level, bring your vibration down to that level, I guess that's on you, not on them. It's, you be you.
Well, and that's, I'm surprised. I mean, we all make mistakes. We all, whether it's AI or us, you know what I mean? And everybody takes such glee, not everybody, but a lot of people take such glee in pointing out other people's mistakes. And I mentioned this to you earlier. Both Janice and Jeff Chikrin, who were on here Tuesday, wanted to thank our viewers for being so good to them and so kind to them as guests on this show. And I'm like, that's what I've known Chick for years. Janice is new in my life, although I guess we met when we were kids. But I'm very proud of our viewers, Kev, that's the way that they are handling the people on this show. That's pretty awesome and rare.
And I mean, you go into your chat at any given day, and even if they're not paying attention or chatting about what is being talked about on the air, quite often they'll be having their own conversation in the chat. But it's always respectful. I've never seen, every once in a while you'll get a certain Calgary fan, they'll go off, but that's expected. But as a rule, they're respectful and it's fun. That's why they come here. We've talked about it a million times. They come here for 2 hours to forget about all these stuff happening in the world and all the crappy things and smile and laugh, because we don't do that enough. Even on sports talk shows. I watch a lot of other sports podcasts, and it's like, you're not having fun. Why are you doing this? You look grumpy or sound grumpy. You're not having a good time. It's silly.
Oh, I know. Well, oh my God. This show is the highlight of my day, hosting it. And I think the viewers have just as much fun, because it's like the other 22 hours of the day. It's like, ugh, I got to deal with all this other crap that's going on. And I'm just talking about, right? Honestly, my life's great. As you know, I'm talking about the mudslinging and the crap that's going on. It's kind of taking fun out of sports for me in a lot of ways. We'll continue this tomorrow, because I was saying yesterday, I really miss newspapers. I love, and especially in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, used to love getting up the next day, rifling through the paper to see what the coaches said and everything. Now I go to Instagram. It's all right there. I really miss that. But I'll guarantee we're not going back. Okay, Kev, I'll see you in 24 hours.
Sounds good. We'll talk football.
You betcha. Football Friday coming up tomorrow, but coming up after this break, a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. It's the RP Show on Game Plus TV and WQVZ Radio.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion, as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's the RP Show. Welcome to the program today. If you just joined us, we actually, on time, got through the quick 6 show topics. Unbelievable, and got through them all. They were, and we'll recap them here. NHL playoffs from Wednesday night. I think I went 1 for 3 in picks last night. Picking's been hard on these Stanley Cup playoffs. Hang on, somebody's texting me. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Point 2, NFL draft tonight, round 1. Will you be watching? I mean, I do not and did not try to start a holy war here, but the poll question today for Country Thunder is, what will be more interesting, the NFL draft or the CFL draft? Some guy wrote into our Twitter and said, is this a joke? Come on, man, I'm trying. And the CFL draft is next Tuesday night. Can you appreciate both will be interesting? Or, as Kevin the Medium just voted for, is there an option for neither? Maybe you're not a draft person. I never really was, but they've kind of ruined the Hall of Fame debate. That was my favorite debate, so I'll get more into the draft. I'll come back on that. Point 3 is tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We didn't really get to our picks yet for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn, but we will. We mentioned the Blue Jays winning at Anaheim on Wednesday, won that series, and mentioned with point 5, the Raptors are home to the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. So now we get to have fun and talk about everything else. And we dabbled in AI before the break. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, AI is the new Wikipedia. Respectfully, disagree. As a guy who has written 3 books, 2 of them bestsellers, write a website that's had 40 million plus all-time hits, I've always used Wikipedia as my go-to for information. And it's never let me down. ChatGPT let me down this morning. You can't trust it, as we were saying. Now, Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, do sports teams use AI to analyze the various statistical metrics? I would guess they would. Does anyone know do they do it? They have entire departments devoted to it. My God, I'll just use the Florida Panthers, for instance, because that's where I live and that's the team that I cover the most. their head of analytics department, who was also named the assistant general manager, Sonny Mehta, was just hired by the New Jersey Devils as their general manager because of his knowledge of AI and analytics and statistical data. Not only are they using it, they're using it to run their teams in some cases. But Bill Zito, I would like to think, is like me. He's like, hey, Sonny, what are the stats and numbers on this? Oh, okay, thanks. And then he might go do completely the opposite. I'll go back to when we were broadcasting this show from the bunker way back in the day. And we used to have meetings after every show. We would look at the breakdown of where all the viewers were. And we're like, 57% are in Ontario. And producer Clark was like, we should talk more Leafs. I'm like, no. They're watching us because they're sick of the Leafs. It's like my favorite story. That's my take. But that's my take on it. The numbers are this. What do they mean? And then, again, I was looking up the information on Dave Ridgway this morning on ChatGPT, and it was wrong. So you got to be careful. Wikipedia has never been wrong to me. Who was the gentleman? Kirk in Toronto wrote in and says, if you're into the CFL draft, you might need a good therapist. Who was the guy? We got a lot of comments that have come in here. I apologize. It's David in Winnipeg. He says, Rod, I must need your help. After my love for the San Francisco 49ers, I do always have hope for the Las Vegas Raiders. Please advise me on the proper therapy. John Ohm has the answer to that. He writes it and says, this show is my escape and therapist. Just watch this show. It'll make all your problems go away for a couple of hours anyways. And I am a certified mental health coach, grief, stress, and trauma management. And Kevin does his thing too. That's all I can suggest. Ted in Red Deer says, by the way, thanks for the insight, Rod. I appreciate the verification. Where this first, and I guess that's why you're watching this show, because you do get the real talk. Where I first realized this is going to become a problem with the analytical data being used to run sports teams. I can't tell you about government. I can't tell you about the water company, but I can tell you about sports, and I can tell you about broadcasting. And with the Dallas Cowboys, we had that quarterback back in the day, Quincy Carter, and it was like 20 years ago, and they were charting all his stats in practice. In practice, they were charting his stats, which they never really used to when I first got into pro football, and over time they have started from training camp and then practice, and then he was started. Maybe he was a first-round draft choice, but they started him. Cowboys started him, and he was terrible. And the coaches were questioned on it, and they said, why are you starting him? He can't win. Well, the numbers showed that he was the best practice quarterbacks and the best guy practiced in training camp, so that's why. Don't blame us. Blame the numbers. It's what the numbers said. And now everybody's doing it to varying degrees. And you see it in baseball too. Why did you pull Kevin Gausman in the fifth inning when we had the big lead? Well, the numbers said we were supposed to, so that's where not every team's doing it, but a lot are. Here is the sports update. Speaking of baseball, Angels righty Jose Soriano put up another sterling start on Wednesday. 5 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 0 runs scored, lowering his ERA to a microscopic 0.24, the best by any pitcher in MLB history through his first 6 starts of the season. Spurs forward Keldon Johnson was named the NBA's 6th Man of the Year, beating out Miami's Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Denver's Tim Hardaway Jr. The 7th-year pro averaged 13.2 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists per game while playing just 23 minutes a night. Alabama has given head coach Kalen DeBoer a 7-year contract extension that will pay him $12.5 million per season, making him one of the highest-paid coaches in college football. So, by the way, as I jump back into the viewer comments here on the YouTube chat and the text line, 902-518-3033 for our friends at Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. NHL came out with the announcement yesterday that ratings for the NHL in America are the highest they've been in 14 years. And I'm a little like you, like I want to believe that that's the truth. And because it's the NHL, I will believe it because I love them so much. And far more people are watching hockey around here, but it's because the Panthers have been good and the Lightning have always been good. But everything's up, up. Who's down? Nobody ever announces that. You know, we talked about Mike Vrabel off the top of the show. Because, yeah, it's the NFL draft, round 1 tonight. It's not just Roger Goodell, I'm sure. Somebody wrote in here yesterday and asked, how much does Goodell make? The last I heard, which was a couple of years ago, it was around $40 million. But I bet you his salary's going up, and up. I cannot believe not only the hype in the media for the NFL draft, like more than ever. I've been here 5 years, okay? I've been around this a while. Plus, was coming to Florida for years before that for those free agent camps that we put on in the CFL for years. It was always around this draft time. The coverage right now for the NFL draft is higher than it's ever been, and the hype from the fans is better than it's ever been. You wait. You want to make a bet right now? I bet you by tomorrow or maybe Monday, you'll see an announcement from the NFL. Ratings for the NFL higher than they've been in 14 years. Same thing. And I'm sitting back, it was this morning, really trying to get my mind around this, going, the NFL draft hasn't changed for a long time. Round 1, Thursday. What is it? Rounds 2 and 3, maybe 4 Friday, and the rest on Saturday. It's a 3-day event. It's amazing. It hasn't really changed, though, for a long time. Why are more people into it now than ever? Because they don't know who these prospects are. I've heard it that talk about it on ESPN radio. They're like, nobody knows who the prospects are past number 5. But, so I sat there and thought about it, and I'm like, why are they so into this? And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. Go back and be a fan, Rod. If you can remember those foggy days. This was a long time ago. I got to turn my phone off. It's going off crazy. People want to talk sports. Turn on your television. We're talking sports here. Don't text me. Or text the text line, 902-518-3033. But it is fun if you have an NFL team, which is mine is the Cowboys. You know what? I will look back and look at their draft class and see who they took, who they thought was special. They got 2 picks in the first round. So if you're a Cowboys fan, there's a lot of reason to be excited for tonight and this entire weekend. But if you're a fan of the New York Jets, where are you, Ryan from upstate New York, and any Jets fans out there? You've got a history of showing you botch these things. You botch the picks. The high ones, the low ones, pretty much all of them. But they're excited too. God bless them. I read the sports update. It's for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca where real fans get their gear. I like to say it's like Jersey City used to be, because Jersey City is largely all just hats. They got it all at Ultimate Fan Zone. I got this there. Ryan in upstate New York. Don't remind me, Rod. That's what I'm here for, to remind you of things. Snowman in the Morning coming up in hour 2. We'll be talking NFL draft and some Stanley Cup playoffs too, because why not? Today's the day. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Listen, I'm going to say buckle up, and I mean it. Not like those other talk shows that say it and then bore you to death. That's not what we're going to do here. We're going to go fast today on this Thursday. We welcome the viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports. Say hello again to the viewers across Canada and 33 other states on the Game Plus television network. I had to check to see if my math was right. Of course, there's streaming live on YouTube. Hello to them. Great comments from those viewers already, and of course, podcast on WQVZ. And speaking of WQVZ, WQVZ's own Snowman in the Morning, Brian Snow, is today's guest. He'll be coming up in the next segment, brought to you by our friends at Prairie Panel. But, oh, you know what? You'd think I'd have my kazoo ready. Let's get down to business. In hour one, it fell off. Listen, you're welcome, Nevada viewers, because everybody there is talking about the number one overall pick and the Las Vegas Raiders having it. My Raiders sign is underneath the Tampa Bay Lightning, because we're talking hockey here, okay? We're talking hockey here, and we were talking about AI as it relates to the conversation. Janice Taylor came on here yesterday and popped the top on the AI, and it got everybody all worked up into a lather. And it's the conversation is continued over to today in terms of how reliable is it, who's using it, why are they using it, and all the rest. So we've got that. But let's go back, slow down, and go back to point one of the Quick Six Show topics brought to you by our friends Neil Chark and Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Stanley Cup Playoffs from Wednesday. Haven't these playoffs been great? There were 3 games on Wednesday night. The game that I watched, which I only watched one, Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh 5-2 to grab a 3-0 series lead. The Anaheim Ducks went into Edmonton and beat the Oilers 6-4, took the air out of that place, I'm told. Cutter Gauthier with a winner at 15:08 of the third period. That's with 4:52 remaining to tie up that series 1-1. And in what is probably, which we all figured would be the closest series, I'm not sure it's the best series, but Dallas beat Minnesota 4-3 in double overtime. Wyatt Johnston scored the winner. As I was sitting there analyzing it this morning, I was thinking, you know what? The teams with the least amount of playoff experience are doing all the damage. That's not supposed to be the way that it goes. AI would tell you those teams should win the series based on playoff experience, but it's not happening. Philadelphia has the least amount of playoff experience of the 16 teams, and they're up 3-0 on Pittsburgh. Penguins actually started to play last night, and it's too late. You're down 3-0. You're probably going to get swept, which we talked about the other day. And from the audience, 902-518-3033 is the text line brought to you by our friends at Western Dodge. John in Edmonton wrote in earlier. He says, I just tuned into your show. I don't know if you spoke about the Oilers, but do you think they could be going golfing next week? Well, let me say this. I watch as much as I can, but I'm not staying up on a weeknight to watch those late games. But it's okay because I get up in the morning and I watch the highlights. And Edmonton is playing like a bunch of donkeys. All I had to see was the goals, and Connor Ingram was left. Everybody's saying, oh, we need a starting goalie. You had a starting goalie. You've had several. If you traded him away or benched him or sent him to the minors, Connor Ingram's just the latest. And so a hockey guy is watching in a southern Alberta community right now. I'm not going to name him unless you want me to. He wrote in and just says, the face-off alignment by Edmonton on the Ducks winning goal was a bomb waiting to go off. That was a colossal WTF moment. See? The hockey people can see it. All the breakdowns are happening long before the puck gets towards the Edmonton goal and vis-a-vis in it. So it's 1-1. I'm sure I can't even imagine the panic that's going on up in Edmonton because of that. But they continue to play poorly, the Edmonton Oilers. And so to answer your question, John, they could very well be golfing next week if they don't pick it up. And you're an Oiler fan. You know, I said to Scruffy earlier on this week that Oiler fans have convinced me that they're a terrible team. There's nothing against you. I love a lot of you. I was one for the entire decade of the 80s until they traded. I was an Oiler fan. But they all got me convinced that the team sucks, and they're playing like it. Maybe the team players are listening to the fans. I don't know. Speaking of Southern Alberta communities, Bob writes in. He says, "Good day, Rod and Kevin the medium. Watching your show from Medicine Hat. You guys have a great day." We are, Bob, and thank you. You have a great day. More importantly, it's going to go fast, as I said. Brian Snow coming in next. Snowman in the Morning, WQVZ. Can't wait. The Quick Six Show topics in the warm-up are brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show and the BC Lions of the CFL. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Point 2. Put aside the mock drafts, because it's time for the real deal. The NFL Draft is here in the Steel City of Pittsburgh tonight. A total of 257 players will live out a dream and hear their name called over the course of the next 3 days. The first round kicks off tonight when NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell takes the stage inside the main theater outside Acrisure Stadium and announces the Las Vegas Raiders selection with the number 1 pick. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner who quarterbacked Indiana to its first ever national title, is the consensus favorite for the Raiders. We all know that. You could actually probably turn your TV off after that. Many of you won't. But I've been talking about this all week and a lot in hour 1. We're going to get to the Golden Knights talk here right away because for the Vegas viewers, you're getting all the Raiders talk you can handle. I'm sure you know everything about Fernando Mendoza, because that's all they've been talking about for months. I will say this. We had this conversation. It was yesterday in the gym. Sauna stories. The talk was Fernando Mendoza not being... Well, let me tell you a story. He's not going to the draft, Fernando Mendoza. Staying home with his ailing mother. She's been battling MS for 18 years. There's not one person that has a problem with that. I even questioned it a couple weeks ago, and people jumped up my ass on that. Everybody's okay with Fernando Mendoza staying home. I'll tell you a little story, though, because that's why you're here. It's the RP show, and you're watching it for that reason. Super Bowl, Las Vegas, 3 years ago now. I was hosting the event, the Sober Bowl, along with Lee Steinberg, the super agent, and Brandon Mitchell. Connection issues, Corey? I was just saying a couple of years ago in terms of, we're back. Just close your eyes, everybody, and listen, because I'm going to tell you a little story about, as it relates to Fernando Mendoza not going to the NFL draft, the number 1 overall pick, which, again, I don't have a problem with it. Nobody has a problem with it. It's because he's staying home to be with his ailing mother. 3 years ago, the Super Bowl was in Las Vegas. I was hosting the Sober Bowl event along with Lee Steinberg and Brandon Mitchell, the Tyler Rose, Earl Campbell. And Ryan Leaf was sold as being there, but he wasn't there. He appeared virtually. Ryan Leaf, the former number 2 overall San Diego Chargers. And everybody thought it wasn't that big of a deal. And I thought, well, I could have done it virtually. I could have stayed home in Miami and just done it via video. But no, I'm going to be there. The organizers didn't have a problem with it either until what happened? People at that event at the Clark County Amphitheater on Super Bowl Sunday, they wanted an autograph of these guys. They wanted a photo with these guys. They wanted a conversation with these guys. They couldn't do it with Ryan Leaf because he was appearing via Zoom. But we were all there. And there was also a local at-risk youth group that was in attendance, which came up and talked afterwards, and I met these kids, and you get the point. So you can do it virtually or not, but it's kind of better to be there. But that's all I'm going to say. Moving on. New England Patriots coach Mike Vrabel is seeking counseling and will not be with the team for day 3 of the NFL draft on Saturday following the publication of photos of the coach and longtime NFL reporter Diana Rossini at an Arizona resort. Vrabel told ESPN he will start counseling this weekend. And our thoughts on this, we did go through it in hour 1, but for the benefit of the Nevada viewers, you didn't see it, as I talked about it with Kevin the Medium. We work in the counseling world, the therapy world, so you can see right through this if you do. But this morning I was listening to NBC Sports Radio, as I always do. Mike Florio and Chris Sims had their thoughts on it because now everybody has their thoughts on it because it's cracked into the mainstream. It's not just an internet story. It's not just on the dark web. No, Mike Vrabel's missing day 3 of the draft with the Patriots because he's going into counseling. And Sims is like, well, I don't really understand this. He says he probably should be at the draft. It's the draft. What if it comes down to their last pick and he's the deciding vote on who they take? Or is it just a PR move? I'm like, what do you think, Chris? What do you think? If you have to say that out loud, it's the National Football League. This here is to get everybody off Vrabel's ass and the Patriots' ass and whatever goes on in his own house. I don't know. It's the National Football League. It's the New England Patriots. You don't think they could have found a counselor available on the Sunday? For real? And again, I don't. I guess this show is unique with regards to with everything that we do. But how I work with what I do and why it pissed off people a lot when I first started doing mine is addictions and substances. Just so you know. Not this. But I'm available 24/7. The phone is on because when crisis is hit, I can't wait to see you next Wednesday at 3. How about right now? There's a few other counselors that work that way. So this is a PR thing. I hope it works. Will it get everybody off Vrabel's back? I don't know. 902-518-3033 as I sit here and do the Larry King of Sports Talk. Ted and Red Deer, hello. Jeff in Toronto says he could wait until Monday. Right? He says he will be drafting virtually. If he's allowed. Well, they're all drafting virtually. That is, by the way, the whole other thing. If you really want to get down to it, it's been how many years now that the NFL teams actually aren't at the draft? It's just Roger Goodell and all the players and a few PR guys. All the NFL teams stay home. The NHL started doing it too. Mike Vrabel could have missed Saturday and you wouldn't have even known. You wouldn't have even known. So it's all a public thing. Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes in, he says, you're right, Rod. It's just another in a long list of Patriots scandals. As I say, that's about as far down that road as I want to go. Jeff in Toronto, same Jeff in Toronto says he is dodging the national media. Counselors aren't working Saturday after. Well, a lot aren't working Saturday after. I know that for a fact. Listen, I got called into a counseling center. I'm not going to say where. But the owner of it is a private clinic. He goes, Rod, tell our therapist here why you've had such success working as an addictions mental health counselor like you are. Well, I'm not called a counselor, called a coach. There is a difference. And I said, well, how many of you, no judging here, this is a safe space, but how many of you are willing to have your phone on past 5 o'clock? Show of hands. Crickets. It's very, very, very rare to do that, and that's fine. They don't want to be bothered when they're home. But what I also know is addiction specifically and crises overall don't wear a watch. Neither does God, by the way, but that's a topic for another day. I'm just telling you how we work, how we work. Our picks are brought to you by Pump Jack Steakhouse and Saloon as we move on, mercifully, to the Stanley Cup Playoffs tonight. Buffalo at Boston. Oh, boy. I feel like the Bruins are going to win. That just popped into my head. Series is tied 1-1. Carolina at Ottawa tonight. I know that they'll be going bonkers in Ottawa, but I think the Canes are going to take this, and it'll be on the way to a sweep. And Colorado at the LA Kings. LA ain't going to win this one. A road team to win here, the Colorado Avalanche. They already have a 2-0 series lead. That was easy. The picks brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. I was 1-3 last night. How much does that suck? We did not get into the Golden Knights and the Utah Mammoth, but we will later on this hour. Because when we come back, we're going to be joined by my very good guy, the Snowman, Brian Snow, Snowman in the Morning, brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca or call 1-306-985-0050. We got hung up on the NFL draft and the NHL, which is what we said we were going to do, so that doesn't upset me. But later on, we'll talk MLB, NBA, and more on those things. Maybe we'll get into them with Snowman in the Morning because he joins us next here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. Rep the show you love. Shop the Rod Pedersen Show store today at rodpedersen.com. Click on RP Store. Bunny hugs. That's hoodies for everybody outside Saskatchewan. Hey, Snowman in the Morning. Golf shirts, T-shirts, hats. We got it all. Not as much as this guy, though. The Snowman from WQVZ. Snowman, why? It feels to me, and I had a bet with the viewers earlier. I said, I bet you tomorrow or Monday we'll have heard that these are the highest ratings for the history of the NFL draft. It seems to me like the hype is higher than it's ever been. Am I right? A, and B,
you're
why
dead
would that
on
be,
right.
if I'm right?
You're
Why?
dead on right. Especially, it's, I don't know. I can't point to a reason of why it's so, I'll use the word, overhyped, because the main position that gets drafted is quarterback. What's this class lacking? Quarterbacks. Real competent quarterbacks. I mean, save Fernando Mendoza, who's left?
Oh, I know. We were just talking about Carson Beck the other day, the hero that took Miami to the national championship against Fernando, and they're thinking third, fourth round. I mean, where do you think Carson Beck will? He won't be in the first. Where do you think he'll go in this draft?
I think he goes lower than fourth round. For the simplest of reasons, the back end of his season at Miami was a flop. He got lucky a couple times in the playoff, but then he ran into a ferocious Indiana defense and they smacked him around. Let's just be real. They smacked him around. A lot of skills that Carson Beck developed at Georgia stayed at Georgia. It did not come with him to Miami. And you know why Carson Beck got so much hype and is getting so much hype? He beat Notre Dame early in the year. I mean, come on. Miami plays in the ACC. Who the hell have they beaten? All right. They had to win a shootout with Ole Miss to get to the championship game. And as I said a moment ago, they ran into Indiana, and Indiana punked them around for 60 minutes.
Yeah, and they won a defensive struggle against Texas in Texas. You know, so by the way, John Ohm says you're looking fabulous, Snowman. Yeah. Well,
thank you, John.
Either way, what everybody's saying is that there's not a lot of hype or sizzle to this draft, yet we'll all be watching, and that part's very true. But you're sitting there in Indiana. You watched every game, I think, that Fernando Mendoza played for the Hoosiers last year. So there are some people in Vegas that are a little nervous, going, what if he isn't all that? Because he's being hyped as all that. Do you think, Snowman, you've been watching football a long time, is he going to be the next one?
I believe he is, but the Raiders have to do one very important thing: protect him. They haven't had a decent offensive line since Derek Carr was their quarterback in 2021. So you want to get the new king to the castle, which is Fernando Mendoza, but you got to do something to protect him. That's where I think the Raiders make their hay in this draft. You got to get an offensive line that will protect your star quarterback. Peyton Manning had to learn it. Joe Montana had to learn it. Tom Brady had to learn it. Every great quarterback had to have what? An offensive line in front to protect him.
Well, they put money into their offensive line as well in free agency. So I think for the Raiders' sake and Fernando Mendoza's sake, that it works out. But I don't even think he's going to even be starting in year one. Definitely not week one. I mean, that's the plan anyways, right? With the signing of Kirk Cousins. Even whoever the quarterback is, he's going to need to be protected. But it seems like the Raiders are doing this right.
They are. They are. They signed some good offensive linemen in free agency. You pick up Kirk Cousins, and more than likely, though I think different, Kirk Cousins will start the first 2, maybe 3 games. But then if the results don't pan out like the Raiders hope, then the fans and the media in Vegas are going to be chomping at the bit to see Fernando Mendoza take over the team.
Oh, of course. Well, from what I understand, the reports I'm getting out of Vegas right now is they're singing Fernando in the streets of Vegas now. They haven't even drafted him yet. Yeah. What do you think it's going to be like when they get into training camp? So, yeah. Snowman is a quality broadcaster. Our viewers all know that, and they've known you for a long time. Tony in Cochrane writes in. He says, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Ironically, it is snowing in Canada, so they're all pissed off about that. But you can talk a variety of sports, and the NHL came out with a stat yesterday that they've got the highest ratings they've had in 14 years. And I said, well, where did these viewers come from? Not that I don't believe it. Actually, I actually do believe it. But where do these viewers come from? And Jason in Red Deer says they came from the NBA because their ratings are down. Is the NBA struggling as much as I hear, Snowman, for viewership?
Let me put it to you this way. The NBA has been struggling since 2003, since Michael Jordan walked away. And the viewer that said the NHL fans are coming from the NBA is absolutely right. Because the NBA playoffs are so predictable. The NHL playoffs are unpredictable. That's what gives the NHL an advantage. I mean, I've watched more NHL playoff games this year than I have NBA playoff games in the last 2 years.
Why is that?
It's fun. It's exciting. I'm learning to call hockey games again. It gives me a lot to study. It's just exciting for me. As I told you before, my first favorite NHL team was the Edmonton Oilers with Wayne Gretzky, Yari Curry, Grant Fuhr in the bunch. And then a year later, I became a Blackhawks fan. So I've always loved hockey, some 41 years now. it's a more exciting game, especially now. And with the young crop that comes in each and every year and they wind up proving themselves, they're going to get even more of a fan base. So they're dead on right. The fans are coming from the NBA because fans are sick and tired of the NBA. And unless the NBA decides to institute a rule that they never should have taken away, which is you should play at least 3 years in college, they're going to continue to sink.
And they need to get rid of the load management. They need to get rid of a lot of things. No, the NBA's done it to themselves. There's no two ways about that.
Exactly.
But I mean, I've never been a regular season NBA guy at all, and I'll watch the playoffs if it's the only thing on. But just hang on. There you go, Jason in Red Deer. You nailed it. You got it. Jason has written in. He says, I love Snowman. The sports media variety that is, I really need to watch his show more. There you go, everybody. Snowman in the Morning from WQVZ. Ryan McCarthy has just logged in and says, Snowman. I'm telling you, man, our viewers, we got the best viewers, the Rod Squad. Arlen Bruce, former Chief and 49er and two-time Grey Cup champions watching. He says, I believe Kirk Cousins will start the whole season. Well, opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody has one, and most stinks. But again, that's why we need to watch. Go ahead.
In a way, that wouldn't surprise me if he does start the whole season. The only problem with Kirk Cousins, he hasn't been healthy in the past 3 years. That's the only problem. Well, I checked that back. 2 problems. Not only has he not been healthy, he hasn't been consistent. Because if you look at his stay in Atlanta, the last good game that Kirk Cousins had, he threw for 500 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that was wind up being an overtime win. And Arlen Bruce, loved watching you play, especially your Grey Cup games. Loved watching you play.
Look at Snowman with the compliments. I love it. It's all a big love in here. Well, I thought he got sat down in Atlanta because of the arrival of Michael Penix. More so than anything else.
He did. They wanted to see what Penix can do. And Kirk Cousins, as I said, has been so inconsistent the latter part of his stay in Atlanta. And they wanted to see what Penix can do, and then Penix winds up getting beat up the second half of the season the same way Kirk Cousins did. So it's a quandary in Atlanta.
Well, let's hope the Raiders aren't watching or their fans, because they're expecting that they're getting 2015 Kirk Cousins. We'll see. By the way, Arlen Bruce writes in, he says, preach, Snowman. I feel the same way. The NHL is surpassing the NBA. Well, the data, the AI, the metrics would tell you that they have surpassed the NBA. It's not happening. It has happened. The NHL has surpassed the NBA in America. Mm-hmm. Agree or disagree, Snowman?
Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, I'm originally from Chicago, and I can tell you a lot of Blackhawk fans there, win or lose, will watch them more than they watch the Chicago Bulls. All right. The heyday of the NBA is over, period. And as I said, unless the NBA makes the college kids that come in play at least 3 years and fully develop, it's going to stay over. The ratings are tanking. The teams are tanking, which makes it worse. And the NHL is on the climb. They have surpassed the NBA, and they're going to surpass them even more. So the NBA has problems, plenty of them.
Snowman has more hot takes than the Waffle House. And by the way, speaking about our viewers, Carlos in Indiana writes in and he says, we're a family of sorts. Oh, we definitely are. I was saying earlier, Janice Taylor came on here yesterday and thanked our viewers for being so kind to her. Jeff Chikrin did the same thing on Tuesday, the NHL alum and Florida Panthers TV analyst. I'm very proud of the viewership that we have. We keep it civil here. We love each other, and it's a very, very special thing. And speaking of that, I feel like you're just dying to talk about the Blackhawks. Scruffy said on here the other day, our Monday, Tuesday co-host, that the Blackhawks will be in the playoffs next year. And I'm not going to make any bold predictions on the Blackhawks. I don't watch them enough, but they look a long ways from it to me. How do you feel?
They are 2 players short of a playoff run. And the biggest need that they have right now is to get a running mate for Connor Bedard. The second biggest need is consistent goaltending. Look at the Blackhawks Stanley Cup runs. What was, besides Taves and Kane and Duncan Keith, what was the most consistent thing the Blackhawks had when they won their 3 cups in 6 seasons? Goaltending. In particular, Corey Crawford.
Yeah, they got a guy. They got the guy. I fully believe that in Spencer Knight, who was a first-round draft pick of the Florida Panthers in 2019. Yep. I get what you're saying, and you watch every game, but I'm a believer in him, and it really hurt the Panthers to give him up. But you had to give up something to get something, and that was Seth Jones. This is fun. You and I are going to ride this right out with viewer questions. David in number 2 in Winnipeg writes in, he says, ask the Snowman, do the Las Vegas Raiders make the playoffs?
No, because their defense is full of holes. Their offensive line, even though they signed some offensive linemen, is full of holes as far as depth is concerned. The biggest problem with the Raiders right now, they need some depth and they need some consistency. So no, they are not a playoff team this year. It would surprise me to think that to believe that they would be, but there's a couple pieces missing.
I don't know. Think about it reasonably. They're drafting number 1 for a reason. They are by far the worst team in the NFL. So the addition, we couldn't even name, aside from Max Crosby, I can't name another player on the Raiders defense, which tells you a lot.
Or cannot.
They're not going to go. Yeah, they're not going to be in the playoffs.
That's what they need. They need some help. They need some help defensively. Bad. They need some people to run with Max Crosby. Bad. They need to put some pressure on the quarterback.
Viewer Jason writes in and says, dare I say the hierarchy is now NFL, NHL, MLB, NBA. Dare you for saying that? We live here. I will tell you that it's NFL, MLB, and always kind of has been this way for a long time, and NHL by a nose over NBA. That's what I see. I mean, MLB isn't huge, but it was not that long ago that it was America's pastime. I mean, everybody, Snowman, has an MLB team. They're keeping an eye on it. They may not be buying tickets or watching it on TV as much as they used to, but MLB is still a pretty big deal. Look at the numbers. Look at the salaries, for God's sakes.
And the MLB is about to run into a huge problem called a lockout unless 2 very key words come into play for Major League Baseball: salary cap. Because if you don't have a salary cap, you're going to have the Los Angeles Dodgers buying everybody, and no one will be able to beat them. Shohei Ohtani, hello. Okay. Edwin Diaz bought him off the Mets. We have a saying at Snowman in the Morning: to be the champs, you got to beat the champs. Well, there's no way you can beat the champs if they keep buying everybody. The difference between the Dodgers now and the Yankees back then, when they bought everybody to win, the Dodgers actually are winning.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens with this World Series, and I pray that the insiders are all wrong, but they are all saying we're working towards a work stoppage, so they know better than I do. By the way, I don't want maybe I'll save this for after. Jason in Red Deer says that I'm wrong on who's the worst team in the NFL. We'll debate this after the break with Snowman. I don't want to take up his team or his time with our argument. What else is popping with you, Snowman? What's going on? What's the latest?
Just getting healthy every day. I'm walking a lot better. I've been doing a lot of weight training at home because my wife Jody bought me some resistance bands. So I've been getting out. I've been putting in laps around the house and learning to eat better. Although this was full of coffee this morning because I was up till 4 a.m. working on graphics, and I had to get a boost. But everything's good here. Just doing my show, getting my company set up for success, and there's going to be a lot of it. And I am having fun again being behind the microphone, because for a while, I can honestly say this, after cancer, for a while I was very depressed because I thought I would never get back in shape. I thought I would never get back in optimum mental shape and mental health. Turns out that was all a lie, because I had to do something, and all my wife did, God bless you, Jody, was just cheer me on. And she kept it real with me also, because there were a couple of times she said to me, I feel like you've given up. The first time she said it, that turned the light on for me. The second time she said it, she coupled it with don't slip back into a depression, because she could tell I was depressed. And this is the month where I had my surgery, and I remember hitting you up on the air the day after I had my surgery saying the cancer's been removed. Well, here I am 4 years later, when Duke University Cancer Center didn't give me a chance. They said I wouldn't make it to 50. I'm going to be 54 in July, and I'm as healthy as ever, and I'm getting better.
You're a miracle. And by the way, you did those downtown, I want to say studio shots, but you were outside, those photos. Very good-looking man. I don't know who took those. You're a very good-looking man, Snowman. I can say that. I can say that very comfortably. Well, this has been great. I'll return the favor next week on your show, and let's do this again. Until then, enjoy the draft, Snowman.
Thank you, my friend. I love you. RP Squad, I love you back, and thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Tons of love for you, too, here as well, Snowman. Snowman in the Morning, WQVZ. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. And we're going to have to straighten some people out here. I got that sense, so stick around. We'll be right back. 902-518-3033 is the text line for Western Dodge. You're watching the RP Show on Silver State Sports. And as always, Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world, thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's been a good one. Told you it would be. I said buckle up because we're going to go fast. We're going to cover a lot of things. And I'll say one thing here today. We don't get a ton of feedback from the guys. Producer Corey will agree, from the people in Vegas, but we do get some. And the one thing that they said at Silver State Sports is, we're like the way Rod takes the viewers to task. I like it too. And so I haven't even ripped Jason and Red Deer yet, and he's already backtracking. I couldn't wait for this. He wrote in, he goes, correction, Rod. The Raiders were the worst team last season. Now that free agency is done, the Dolphins are the worst team on paper. We'll see how the draft and season play out. I said I was going to come after you, and he's already written in and backtracked on that. And hang on, before you, because I told you this was coming. And you know, I'm just saying, if you're going to pop off, you got to be careful to get it. I am. Trust me, I am. I answer for what I say every day. And so I don't care what was done in free agency. And you know better. It's all that matters is what's done on the field or on the ice. That's it. The rest is just talk, and the rest is just bunk. So Jason writes it. He says, before you string me out, Rod, I did say on paper the Dolphins are the worst. Yeah, but let's stop right there. And you know better. The Las Vegas Raiders are the worst team in the NFL, and that's going to be the case until they prove otherwise, because there's a very good chance they will be again. So don't tell me the Dolphins had a worse free agency or better free agency. I mean, it's the wonderful thing, believe me, about sports is the opinions and all of that. There's no doubt. And I pay for the USA Today subscription, which I don't mind because I love their coverage, but that's just talk too. They gave all their grades for every team for free agency. That doesn't mean they're right. We're going to find out when they step on the field. Oh, so by the way, Arlen Bruce, love you. The Rod Squad. It's such a fun place here. Arlen writes in, NFL, CFL alum. He says, bro, when I watch the NFL now, I get excited. Sorry, when I watch the NHL now, I get excited. And remember the players' names. I'm still learning the rules. And my picks win percentage is about 78%. When I watch NBA, I change the channel. Right. I know. And I'll say, I was sitting there last night. I don't know. I've never been very good at how I'm perceived. And I also don't really care. But people tell me, oh, you're great for the NHL in Florida. That's why they like you so much, because you're in getting people to watch. I'm like, I am? I don't know. I'm not telling them to. But I will say this. Last night, watching Philadelphia-Pittsburgh, when Garnet Hathaway of the Flyer, I call him Anne Hathaway. Like in my own mind, I call him Anne Hathaway. When he skates past Crosby in the face-off circle, before they even dropped the puck, and he clipped him in the face right under the nose with his stick, and Crosby went down like he was shot. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? How can you not? What, did he get up and yell out the window? Why are you not? Is everybody watching this? This is great theater. And we find out after, and then Crosby gets called for diving, and they got such a great panel on TNT. Henrik Lundqvist was like, anytime you get clipped anywhere around the face, you're going to go down exactly like Crosby did. He's not diving. They do a great job because they're not afraid to come out and criticize the refs or criticize the players. I don't know, man. It's just good. And that was just one game. There's so much wonderful drama going on in really all of the series. So I had a guy, where's he? Fort Myers, Sarasota area. And he's like, no wonder the NHL has opened their doors to you. You're promoting the league. I'm like, I am? I didn't know what it was like before I got here, but I guess once the teams here lose out, people stop watching. I mean, I kind of get it. It's like Canada with the Blue Jays and the Raptors. Once they lose out, people don't watch. But when it comes to hockey, we don't stop watching. So I've just kind of brought it here. And I did promise the Vegas viewers that we would talk about Utah when we come back, or at least in the Utah series. Utah and the Golden Knights. I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it other than a lot of trends that for those of us that have been watching the game for decades are being reversed so far. We always get so caught up in the moment. But so far, playoff experience has meant diddly squat in these Stanley Cup playoffs, and that's what's made it must-see TV so far. We'll be coming right back with Overtime right after this.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus Television, which is, of course, anchored out of Toronto. And I wore this shirt for a few reasons. I'm a Jays fan. I feel like they'll always be my team. There's no two ways about that. But the networks in Canada are all talking about the Leafs. We got that covered. We'll talk about everything else here. Trevor, my guy Trevor Harris from WQAM Miami Radio is watching them, and he writes in, T from the 203, he writes in and says, hey, what up, Rod? That Flyers-Penguins game was wild. I'm like, see, we were just talking about that. And I guess you must have just tuned in, Trevor, because I was saying earlier that people from Florida are watching this show for the hockey talk. So we talked, what I said, it's must-see TV. I just went deep into the Crosby thing. Did he dive? He's never been called once in 21 years for diving, yet they give him a diving penalty. That's entertaining. And what I said earlier off the top of the show is in Nevada, everybody's talking about the Raiders. I get it. It's night one of the NFL draft, and Las Vegas has the number 1 overall pick, but nobody's talking about the Golden Knights. I will. And the other thing is that series is 1-1 going back to Salt Lake City. They're not playing tonight. We already made our picks, by the way, for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. I got the Bruins, Hurricanes, and Avalanche to win tonight. We're having a watch party in Wellington, Florida, Friday night to watch the Tampa Bay Lightning, Montreal Canadiens game. It's all just great. We did spring a huge NBA discussion in the chat. I'm staying away from that. Utah Darren writes in and he says, Rod, I do like the analysts for the NHL playoffs. They're honest and upfront. I don't know the guy's name, but he said the Flyers played scumbag hockey and they don't care. That's why they're winning. See, Tampa Bay is doing the exact same thing. They don't care that they're being called the dirtiest team in the league. That's not an insult, but it is to the Snowflakes. Carlos in Indiana says, bring on the NFL draft and Football Friday. We'll see if I've got Kevin the Medium watching the NFL draft tonight because he said he wasn't going to. The one thing we said in hour 1, which is the Canadian hour, the RP show, I said, Kev, tomorrow get ready on the Football Friday, which airs on Game Plus TV only. And say if you had an unlimited budget, what would you do with the CFL draft to make it in any way interesting? Because to be honest, it's largely not. And that it would be nice if it would change, but probably won't. From the text line, I'm loving it. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says free agency really only buys you flashy headlines. Right? That's why I couldn't let that slide by. The Las Vegas Raiders were not surpassed by Miami for the worst team in the NFL based on free agency. It's all that matters is what's done on the field. Sean in Vancouver writes in and says, Snowman is awesome. I'm going to start following him. Straight up talk. Love it. That, by the way, is the other thing. You guys were talking earlier about therapy and counseling and how it works and advising. I talked to my gal, Lisa, today. She's my advisor here in West Palm Beach, Florida. And, you know, why this show is gaining popularity pretty rapidly now. Because I knew once it got in the States and then hit the current, it would take off. And it's guys like Snowman. And it's people like Janice, people like Chick, and our crew. Producer Corey doing a great job with what you see. Joe, our business manager. Lisa said this morning, you can't win the marathon unless you got somebody handing you water along the way. You got somebody, prepping you to get out there. The recovery app, you can't do it on your own. Huge team effort here, and that includes the audience. And I said earlier, I'm very proud of that. Great comment by Bob. He's watching in the Bridge City with regards to the NBA popularity. He says, I could see the NBA falling for years. College football is number 2 in ratings behind only the NFL. You say that, and you're 100% right. And it's like maybe the sports media pundits need to update things because they always talk about the big 4, the 4 major sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL. Ever since the advent of NIL, name, image, likeness, college football has moved into that discussion. And ratings-wise, it always has been, but now it's even more so. And you're 100% right. But you never hear college football even when we talk about it, and not even at the national level here. It's always the big four that Jason mentioned, or college. You're right. College football is number 2. Why is nobody else saying that? Laverne writes in from the Frontier City, which, by the way, this is Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They are now our longest running partner and sponsor of this show because we love them, they love us, and it works. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. It's an amusement park for hockey fans. Go check it out. Thank me later. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. I'll be back there doing live shows this summer. You can bank on it. Laverne in the Frontier City writes in, he says, it's been kind of fun watching Flyers Porter Martone being cloned to play like his coach, Rick Tocchet. That kid's got a bright future ahead of him. Amazing what coaching can do. Bro. Maybe we'll get into that tomorrow or another day. People don't understand how important coaching is. Look what Joel Quenneville's doing in Anaheim. Look what Paul Maurice did here in South Florida. Nobody could fit that glass slipper until Paul Maurice came to town. Coaching. They're worth it. The money. And goalies too. Ask any Oiler fan. That's why I'd have been... Honestly, the Oilers should have acquired Sergei Bobrovsky at the trade deadline and found a way. Because that's a guy that can cover up for all their mistakes. They haven't been found a guy that could. Stuart Skinner couldn't do it. Connor Ingram can't do it. Pickard can't do it. Tristan Jarry can't do it. Yet it's always blame the goalie. It's going to be fun tomorrow. I believe Mike Davis is going to be with us for the Vegas Nighthawks, but I haven't talked to him. If not, it'll be somebody great. And Kevin the Medium as well. It's been a great one today. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow here on the RP Show.
That